What are like your top two or three favorite books of all time that you've read?
Oh,
I know that's such a difficult question.
it's funny. I had such a big life change the last 18 months. So I used to be a ferocious reader, and when I was in REO, I had beer, pizza, and books. That was how I got out, and then I started really running and hiking so I could get to Africa. There was a period after that where I really didn't read, and I missed that so much. So from November of last year, which is I had some life-changing events, to now I've crushed, compared to some people, not you, I've crushed probably about 45, 50 books, right?
That's awesome.
And so a lot of that's on Audible, which I don't know how people existed before Audible, because Audible, you can crush a book in a day.
Yep.
Like, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't read
So my
anymore,
three
man, I just
favorite
listen.
books, right? So I look at Racing in the Rain, or How to Race in the Rain. I just read that about a month ago. I already bought it for my family for Christmas.
What's it called again?
How to Race in the Rain, or The Art of Racing in the Rain.
The Art of Racing. Okay.
It's yeah. So I won't give you the diatribe on that. And then actually I've gone back and looked at a couple of books that used to be my favorite. So there's a book called Den of Thieves, and it's about the insider trading in the 80s, not the most recent issues. But it's an accountable. It is literally all very factual, but it really talks about the culture of greed. It's something that I have to deal with because I'm so adverse to when somebody is greedy that I won't do business with them. But my job is sell houses, and there are very few sellers that aren't in their best
Right.
interest. So, that I would definitely say is always a top book. And then, let's see, another. It's so hard to pick
I
just
know,
three
yeah,
books,
yeah.
right? I mean,
I always ask this question, but I hate when I get asked.
I know, right? So, and unfortunately, they're not. I could go through and tell you that The Millionaire Real Estate Agent is the best book in real estate ever written, and I think it is. Is it a little outdated now? Maybe, but there's still some fundamentals. But I guess if I had to pick another one, it's Born to Run. So,
Yeah.
have you read that about the Tamahara Indians? So Mika True, who was the white horse, Mika, the guy that became the book, right? So I had a really good opportunity to meet him a couple of times, and a friend of mine was his girl, and when he passed, it was very tough. But that book, I think, speaks a lot to how we really need to look at our lives and find the simplicity in it. And it goes back to, there's not a secret way to be a top agent. It's a simple thing. It's finding the tool you want to use, never dropping that tool. Those guys could run 100 miles nonstop, flat out, in shoes made from tires, right? Why did they do that? Because that was the tool they picked. They never changed their tool, and nobody can catch them, right? Not all the science in the world builds better runners than these people, but they ran naturally. And I take that back to my real estate practice, back to my coaching, is that what's the natural thing that you want to do? Not the adaptive, but your natural instinct. Do you like to sell, or do you like to do paperwork? Okay, well, if you like to do paperwork, then stop trying to be the number one agent. Find a team and find a partner that wants to get out there and sell. They can't put two pieces of paper together. Make them awesome, and it's okay, right? So yoga releases you from all of the humility, right? You have no ego, because there is always somebody who has a better asana. You can be competitive, but you give that up pretty quick. And translating that back into real estate, that is one of the things I have to coach the most on, is, just talking to somebody and saying, okay, now that we've talked, we've met 3 or 4 times, I really think you should join a team. I really want to have a team. I'm like, well, you haven't sold 100 houses. You haven't made 1,000 phone calls. You haven't done lead generation on a massive scale. I'm like, you join a team, or you start a team, you're responsible for somebody else's life. And that was a hard lesson for me. I learned that when I had the property management company, and I swore I'd never make the mistake again. So that's why nobody drove a new car in my office.
Yep.
Right? Is that we kept it humble, we kept it consistent. And everybody who used to work for me are phenomenal agents, right? I mean, look at the Laughtons, Brent and Dustin down at Green Street. those guys, everybody that used to work there has a phenomenal real estate business now. Some of them are a little bit more humble than others, but I think that I had a lot to do with that. I don't know that I helped them now, but I know that getting them through that 7 years with just learning some basics of, it's going to be okay. You don't need to buy a new car.
Yeah,
So.
no, I mean, you had a massive impact on allowing them to be where they are. It's that whole definition of a true leader isn't how many people that you lead. It's how many leaders do you create.
Yeah.
And it's massive.